maybe. There you go. You got it. Very good. Thanks. In case people don't get to listen, they can tune in another way. So for your information, this forum is being recorded and will be available on Kentucky Interfaith Power and Light's YouTube channel just as soon as we can upload it for you. Welcome again to the 6th presentation of Real Good News. We started these quarterly Zoom meetings 2 years ago as a way to highlight the issues needed to assure the implementation of Louisville's Clean Energy Resolution, which calls for 100% renewable energy community-wide by 2040 and 100% renewable energy powering Metro Louisville operations by 2030. Now, as all of you know, and why we have so many people gathered, is that this program is going to be a little bit different. We are extremely pleased to be hearing from 7 mayoral candidates, one of which will be elected and thus play a part in progressing our city toward this clean energy goal. I want to let you know, just so you're clear, that every mayoral candidate from both parties were invited if we found contact information for them anywhere, and we looked pretty hard. So those online tonight are simply those who accepted our invitation. We are an equal opportunity. Everyone had an invitation. That's what I want to say. I want to take a couple of minutes to recognize this evening's sponsors. Since the beginning, these events have been sponsored by or organized by my organization, Kentucky Interfaith Power and Light, and by the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville, also known as 100% Real, and by St. Paul United Methodist Church in the Highlands. Because of the importance of tonight's forum with the mayoral candidates, we have several co-sponsors who have lent their support to calling attention to this discussion. Just want to let you know who they are as well. The Kentucky Conservation Committee, the Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, the Kentucky Resources Council, Louisville's Climate Action Network, the Louisville Sustainability Council, and the Sierra Club. We thank all of them for sharing the value of a sustainable environment and the value of having all of Kentucky's people equitably empowered to both enjoy that environment and to use their voices to protect it and themselves and their children when it's necessary. You may also be hearing or not hearing, in this case, from Paul Westland, because he's the one who had his unfortunate power outage. So Tom is the one who let you in the waiting room, and hopefully, Tom, you can keep your eye on that in case people join late. So everyone, please remember when you speak to unmute yourselves, and when you are finished to mute yourselves so we don't get background noise. In addition, with so many attending tonight, we had a suggestion that you put your screen on speaker view so that you can hear who is speaking and maybe be able to be a bit more connected to the action, so to speak. One of the aims of these Real Good News events is to keep the clean energy goal at the top of the mind, not just for the mayoral administrations, but also for the members of the Metro Council, which make up the legislative branch in our city. So our next speaker is going to talk for a moment about the importance of that and how you can be a part of helping implement the Renewable Energy Resolution. So I want to introduce Margaret Stewart with the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville. Margaret, you're up.
Hello, everyone. I will just quickly summarize the 3 main goals, and Elisa had mentioned some of this already. The 3 main goals of the resolution that was passed by the Metro Council 2 years ago, actually in February of 2020. The first goal is 8 years from now, 2030, a goal of 100% clean electricity for all metro government operations. That's strictly for electricity is the first goal by 2030. By 2035, 100% clean energy, including both heating and cooling and transportation, that it would mean electrifying the vehicle fleet for the city government. All that for the city. That's leading with the city leading, showing us the way. And the final goal by 2040, 18 years from now, 100% clean energy community-wide, 18 years from now. It's ambitious, this set of goals, but realistic if we are determined. And the climate is changing now. It's incumbent upon us to change now if we wish to enjoy a livable planet in the future. Just want to mention some of the actions the city has already undertaken or is undertaking. First of all, we were very glad that Mayor Fisher immediately expressed his support for the resolution as soon as it was passed, immediately. The city has now appointed an energy manager, Zachary Tyler, who's done a great job in his first year. He's already saved the city $750,000 in energy conservation and efficiency measures. So, and he'll keep going, doing more of that. So we're very grateful for that energy manager. The city also has contracted with NREL, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and for guidance in suggesting what we can do here in Louisville. And one of the suggestions that they have made is that the city should investigate the possibility of municipalization, get my word untangled, of the grid. And the city is beginning to research that now. That actually will be the focus of our next Real Good News event in June. We have a date yet to be set for that, but tune in. Another city program that I found really exciting is called Solar Over Louisville. This is put on in partnership with the Louisville Sustainability Council. What this team for this has done is they have very carefully vetted to select a highly qualified solar installer. And this installer, for people who sign up for the Solar Over Louisville program, will do an analysis of anyone's home or possibly of some businesses or other entities to see if it's suitable for solar. The company, because it gets a bulk business load, can offer a 12 to 19% discounted rate for solar installations. And there will be limited solar fund grants for those who are eligible that you can apply for. This is available to residents of Jefferson County and surrounding counties. You can learn more about that and take advantage of the easy, no obligation registration on the website that Paul, whose energy is out, was going to post. But check out Solar Over Louisville, the Louisville, Kentucky government site, and you will find some very helpful information and a way to register if you're at all interested in solar on your property that you own. I want to mention that the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville, of which I'm a part, we encourage speakers at every Metro Council, and that speakers are allowed to give 3-minute address to the council. And the council meets roughly twice a month. We encourage any of you to join in by signing up to give a talk about the importance of dealing with this climate situation and the importance of renewable energy. Each message is uniquely personal, and I think it's been really effective for the council. I think that's the way we got the council to pass the resolution in the first place, by doing these little talks on an ongoing basis. So you can contact Sam Avery, and I will tell you his contact information. We'll maybe post it later, hopefully. It's Samuel Avery at gmail.com. Sam will give you more information to facilitate if you are interested in signing up. He'll tell you how to do that. And thank you all for being here tonight. Back to you, Elisa.
Thanks, Margaret. I just want to let you know that I put Sam's contact information in the chat as Margaret was speaking. So you have it in the chat if you want to get in touch with him and be one of the speakers in support of the resolution when at the Metro Council meetings. We really do need people to sign up for that. And now on to the meat of this evening's presentation. What I want to do first is to briefly lay out the ground rules for this forum, let people know how it will work, and then I will introduce our moderator and we will move forward with the chance for the candidates to share with you about their views of this resolution. So the first thing that you need to know is that all the candidates have received the questions up front. There will probably be just probably 3 questions, and they have received those questions up front because we're really not interested in them talking to each other as much as we are interested in hearing from them about the way that they would approach this resolution were they elected mayor. So each candidate will have a certain number of minutes to answer each question, and I will tell you what those allocations are right now. For the first question, each candidate will have 4 minutes. The reason for that is that 2 of those minutes, our expectation is that the candidates will spend introducing themselves and letting us know why they're running and what they offer. The next 2 minutes will be for them to answer the first question, which is simply, what is your stance toward Louisville's 100% resolution? Then the second question is 2-minute time frame. What is the biggest obstacle community-wide to implementing this resolution, and how would you work to overcome it? And then the third question is also 2 questions, and I will let Tom tell the candidates what that question is. There will be a timekeeper. I will serve that role. I won't say anything. You will just start and I'll start your time. I won't say anything until there are 30 seconds left in your overall time. So the first question, you won't hear anything until you've been speaking for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So you're going to have to decide when you're finished introducing yourself and when you want to start speaking to the resolution. So I will say 30 seconds when there's 30 seconds left, at which point I'll just break in and say 30 seconds. And then in the end, I will say time when your time is up. And we would appreciate it if you would stop speaking then, because we think it's important that everybody get a fair chance to fully be able to answer the question, and everybody has the same amount of time. So that is our hope. That is how things will work. We will not, we have the candidates listed on a sheet of paper that we're using as a cheat sheet in alphabetical order. We will ask the first question in alphabetical order. We'll ask the second question in reverse alphabetical order. We'll ask the third question from the center moving out to the edges so that everybody goes in a different order each time that we ask a question. I hope that that is understandable for the candidates and for the people listening. We do have the wonderful gift of having Mr. Tom Fitzgerald, who most people know as Fitz, as our moderator. And Tom Fitz was the director of the Kentucky Resources Council from 1984 to 2021. KRC continues to be a nonprofit environmental advocacy organization that provides free legal strategy and policy assistance to individuals, organizations, and communities. And that assistance deals with environmental quality, resource extraction, energy, and utility issues. Fitz is also a professor at the Brandeis School of Law, and he teaches energy and environmental law and writes a lot. He, as part of the work that he's done at KRC, he has become a fixture in the halls of the Kentucky General Assembly. He's been roaming those halls like he did today since 1978. Think of that. He's been 44 years firmly engaged with Kentucky's policymakers on these issues that are so important to all of us. But perhaps more importantly, he's been engaged with those issues on behalf of those who follow us all the way out to the 7th generation. Finally, I want to say that Fitz has won many awards for lifetime service, 7 that he put in his short bio. But the one that caught my attention was the last one that he won in 2021 for the Kentucky Bar Association's Donated Legal Services Award. Amazing. We're so pleased to have you with us, Fitz. Thank you for agreeing to moderate this forum. And now it's all you, except for when I come in and say 30 seconds in time.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you both to the candidates. As we mentioned before we began the program, all of us appreciate the time and the effort that you put into running for office. And we are a better community for your service. And we are very appreciative for your being here this evening. We know that your schedules are overloaded with obligations, and we are very appreciative. Let me thank you also to the scores of participants who are here. The number that I've got, including the candidates, is 96, which I think is a wonderful testament to the interest that the community has in these issues that were framed so eloquently in the 100% resolution. Without further ado, I'm going to go through. We'll do the first question with introductions and then your response to the questions which were provided previously to the candidates. And first we'll go to Bill Durif, who is with us. Bill, I did see you there, and we'll just turn it over to you. It looks like Paul Westland has returned to with full power here.
Thanks, Tom. Elise, the last time I saw you were at a prayer breakfast with your father up on stage. That was a fantastic. It's always great to have that once a year. And the last time I saw Tom was up in Frankfurt. We've many times have worked together on items on whether it's energy or conservation or recycling. Many times we're working together up there, and I always have a good time working with you, Tom. I appreciate it.
Good to
but
see you.
The best person on here is a person that has their glass of wine in the picture. I don't know. I think it's Phyllis. I lost her now, but before she was right here. But let me start by this. I am a mayor, and I'm an existing mayor that's been doing this for 12 years. So when we start talking about Louisville doing an energy audit 2 years ago, they're too many years behind. In 2012, J-Town did an energy audit of our city, and we started doing what needed to be done as soon as the audit was done. We paid to have things done to save money, but it also saved a lot of energy, anywhere from replacing the bulbs. Back then, when we did the audit, the interesting thing was the bulbs were fluorescent. And since then, fluorescents have gone out, and now we're replacing things with LEDs. So I think the action item is we have to have action, not studies. So once we get a study, I think we need to move forward with action of whatever we can. So throughout the whole city, whether it's window replacement or energy savings in some way, we have already done this in the city, and we constantly are moving forward to looking what we can do next. As far as electric cars, 5 years ago, we started putting in charging stations. So again, as a sitting mayor, that we're already moving forward with the beliefs that you all are saying that 100% renewable energy is something that we're already practicing. Can we do more? Yes. Should we do more? Absolutely. But we're already moving the needle now rather than keep studying what we need to do. And I think as the next mayor of Louisville, I think that's what we do. We move the needle, keep moving it, keep moving it. Baby steps are great, but as fast as we can move things, it's even better. The interesting thing is Louisville has put in charging stations. Theirs are in garages where you have to pay to park. Ours are in open parking places where you can move up, pull in, it's free. So we are trying to get the people used to charging, getting used to coming to the town, whether it's the library or one of our parking areas, to where they can charge, where they realize having the car charged is something very simple to do while you're shopping or while you're eating. The other thing that we've done is we realize that the tree canopy is another big issue that we have to look forward to. Not only are we looking for renewable electric energy, we're looking for how can we not need the energy in the first place. And one of the things is the tree canopy is our heat island. We have to look at not only where they've done the study of where the trees should be, but in the West End is a key item that we should look at to put trees in there more and more, and downtown should be a place where trees should be more and more, because those are the heat islands that need to be covered with our trees now and in the future. And as we go into the West End replacing the trees, it's not only the heat island replacement, it's also an economic engine that helps those people's houses gain in value. So as we move forward with the energy, renewable energy, or as we look forward of how we're going to handle the heat in this community and worldwide, we not only should look at ourselves, but we should look out and about ourselves. Thank you. We should be starting implementing all the things we can do now and then work toward the other items on a later date. Thank you. Always good to see the two of you, Tom, especially you in Frankfurt. We worked well together there. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Okay, and the next person on the list is Tim Finley. Tim, just the first question is, what is your stance towards the Louisville 100% resolution?
Well, thank you all for having me. Thank you for this discussion. So just a little bit about myself. I think there's 2 minutes there. I'm the proud pastor of Kingdom Fellowship Christian Life Center here in Louisville, Kentucky. We just celebrated 14 years of ministry, March 2nd of this year. So very excited about that. I'm also the founder of the Life Development Corporation, which is a community development corporation in the city. We've done everything from HIV support to youth mentorship, so on and so forth. I am the former faith-based liaison in the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods in this administration, and a part of the criminal justice transition team for our governor. When it comes to this particular, the resolution, I definitely believe that it's a step in the right direction. My stance is pretty simple, that support for 100% renewable energy, it really does transcend partisan, cultural, and socioeconomic lines. So this is not something that we can approach as partisan. I also believe that this is not an idea for someday, but this is an idea that we have to make sure that we execute on right now. As my friend, Mr. Dourif, Mayor Dourif just pointed out, we've done studies. We see the writing on the wall. We see this both globally, statewide, and locally. Right now, the issue, in my opinion, is not, it's not financial, but it is political. We have to have someone in office that makes this a priority. Why am I so passionate about this? I have a 20-year-old daughter. I have a 1-month-old niece, 1 month, Gianna. I have a church full of young people, young babies. And what I do and the decisions that I make right now will directly affect their lives. One day I'm going to be a grandfather. My grandson or granddaughter, what I do right now is going to be extremely important. So again, I think this is the step in the right direction, but I think we have to have the kind of forceful, aggressive political will to not only deal with renewable energy, but we also have to realize that there are some environmental justice issues that need to be addressed. When you talk about the West End and those heat islands, when you talk about the tree canopies, they didn't get like that on accident. There are some things that have to be dealt with, and we've got to have that political will to say that in this administration, when I'm the next mayor, those answers or those questions will be answered. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Tim. Next on the list, Skylar Grodick. Same question to you. You got 4 minutes. What is your stance on the Louisville 100% resolution?
Thanks for having me tonight. My name is Skylar Graddick. I'm a moderate Democrat running for mayor of Louisville. I'm a former police officer with the Louisville Metro Police Department. I did 6 years as a patrol officer in the South Dixie Highway area of Louisville, the 3rd Division. I'm also a former union lobbyist. I cut my teeth during the Bevan administration when there were lots of attacks on workers' rights and on our pension system. It was the KEA, Kentucky Education Association, and the FOP that sued against the sewer bill, it was called. They also tried to attack workers' benefits and passed legislation that really made it difficult for injured workers across Kentucky to have those benefits. And I was one of the last people standing who didn't back down on that. And so my expertise from my lobbying days gives me some insight into my stance on this resolution. I actually found the resolution. I did some research here. I found the resolution, which is a little bit difficult to do. My main issue with this resolution is how vague it is. Now, from a legislative standpoint, that can be a good thing because it gives people a lot of flexibility. But I think that this resolution is too vague. And it's not just me saying that. Actually, the last whereas in the resolution states that. It says, no one can predict what the final action plan will look like. One possible scenario might include A, reducing demand through conservation energy efficiency policies and incentives. B, creating electricity with many installations of solar panels. C, creating storage for that electricity through batteries. It goes H, I, it goes all the way down. So my issue with this is kind of the lack of direction. I think it's a great idea. I think you need to have some priorities to get people to get together and focus on them. But I almost wonder if this is almost a little bit unrealistic. As a cop, I had to face a lot of hard truths. I'm not in the business of trying to promise things because I have an audience in front of me that is into the issue. I like to try to be as consistent as possible. So, for example, the municipalization issue comes up. My research on that is it's a way for the community to basically take ownership and control of a utility company. And that's usually done when you want to use the utility company for more political things like renewable energy, or if they're corrupt and you want to take control of them. But when it comes to the partial municipalization issue, from my work in Frankfurt, when we had different groups trying to take control of different boards, a lot of times you find the most powerful group trying to get 51% of the seats. And so you would appear to have more control than you did, but when the chips are down, you're going to see the exact same thing that you used to. And a lot of people are going to be disappointed. So it'd be good to have a lot stronger leadership from the mayor's office, from the community, to actually set some clear directions and goals so that we don't see, say, a partial municipalization that winds up disappointing everyone in the end.
30 seconds.
I think I'll just say this. I think we're going to kind of have an LBJ, Great Society issue. Lyndon Baines Johnson, he got in trying to eliminate racial inequality and social injustice. Then he got hit with the Vietnam War. I think that a lot of Louisville, we're seeing the inability to hire police officers. We're seeing the inability to hire corrections officers. We saw our libraries and our swimming pools closed. I think we have to take a hard look at our priorities and realize that we have got a lot of work to do on many different issues. So I'd like to see more focus. Thank you.
All right, so thank you. Next on the list, Craig Greenberg. I'll repeat the question. You've got 4 minutes. What is your stance on the Louisville 100% resolution? And take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself to the group.
Sure. Thanks, Tom, and thanks everybody for joining us and being here this evening. My name is Craig Greenberg, and I'm great to be here today. I'm a proud JCPS grad. I'm the former CEO of 21C Museum Hotels. I'm a former U of L Board of Trustee member who advocated for significant reform at that university. And I'm running for mayor because I think we have big challenges in this city right now. And when I see big challenges, I also see big opportunities. And so I believe there's a unique moment in time right now where we as a community can come together to address those big challenges and move Louisville forward, make us a safer, stronger, healthier, cleaner city. I'm tired of complacency. I'm all about action and collaboration. And so I'm excited to be here with you all to talk about efforts to make Louisville a better city when it comes to renewable energy. And I fully support the goals that the Metro Council put forward in their resolution. Not only do I support them, but as mayor, I would actually push to accelerate and beat the goals that were met, not just for us on the call tonight, but for our kids and for our grandkids. Because just like our public safety crisis that is plaguing our city right now, incremental improvement in my mind is not enough. Incremental improvement is not an option, and it's not of interest to me. We don't have any time to waste as we address some of these giant crises that our community is facing. We need real change now because climate change is real and it's rapidly changing our city, our country, and our world. You know, it's interesting as I've been going about the whole city campaigning, when I talk to most adults say that by far the number one issue facing this city is our violent crime crisis. We need to make the city safer. When I talk to kids, when I talk to high school students or middle school students or kids in college, they say the number one issue facing our city is climate change. And so I think we need to listen to them. We need to do both of these things along with many of the other issues facing our city right now. And I actually believe that we can change quickly. Just look at what happened over the past couple of years with the pandemic. So many of us changed so many habits virtually overnight. Just look at the past month or so. When Russia invaded Ukraine, our country changed the way that we bought energy. Other countries changed almost overnight. So like others have said, we don't need any more studies. It's time right for the action point. We can and must do more to make Louisville a cleaner city, a greener city, a healthier city. And now more than ever, as mayor, I'm committed to a whole new way of doing things, a whole new set of goals and expectations, a whole new set of accountability. If I wasn't looking for big change, I wouldn't be running. I think all of us on this call, everyone in our city owes it to not just our own families, but to everyone's families in Louisville, to our city, to our country, to really do everything possible to make meaningful change, to make Louisville a cleaner city,
30 seconds.
use more renewable energy. So I'm a proud supporter of this resolution, and I look forward to even beating the goals that are currently in there.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the list, Shortrell Hall. Let me repeat the question. Introduce yourself. You had 4 minutes. And what is your stance on the Louisville 100% resolution?
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to the Real for having us. Thank you to everybody on the call. It's good to see, as he said, 96 or so in attendance. That's amazing for the turnout that we have, the community and people actually looking to be involved. As he said, I am Shortrell Hall. I am a son of Louisville, first and foremost, before I became a husband, before I became a father of 4 beautiful children, the city that developed me and made me in my upbringing. I'm from the west end and south end of Louisville, where my basketball skills and talents of that was given to me that I worked on awarded me to go to the manual high schools along with my education, which then awarded me Spalding University and Bellarmine University. Go Knights. I know everybody saw what happened in the ASUN championship and where we are in the city. So unfortunate, but rules are rules, right? There's things in place and we have to follow those. I've then played professionally overseas for 7 years, traveling the world, playing in places like China, Germany, Belgium, Holland, London, Mexico. So I've been around, I've studied a lot, observed a lot, had a lot of conversations with different cultures and groups. But then it became time for me, I needed to come home. It was too much going on in the city, too many deaths, too much segregation, too many sides, too many separation. It was an issue. And so I had to ask myself, what am I doing? So I came home and I was fortunate enough to have a job at the Exposition Center where I took over as one of the directors of sports, and I was an intricate piece in signing one of the largest youth basketball tournament deals in the country and the state in the country as well. It was a 5-year, $40.5 million economic impact. And it's the largest youth basketball tournament under one roof, 80 basketball courts with over 2,000 teams. And that's still going on now. There was a 5-year deal and a move into a 10-year deal at this point. So creating the workforce development, which also awarded me opportunities to sit a part of the MBA to Louisville project, where I have the documents on that and different meetings that I've been in and working in behind the scenes in regards to that. And also awarded me an opportunity to then get into the community, where I'm now a minister at Quinn Chapel, AME on 19th and Muhammad Ali in the West End, while also being an entrepreneur and having my hand in a nonprofit called Get Better Every Day, focused on working with the youth. So that's a little bit about who I am. My platform while I'm running for mayor is simple. It's restoration. I believe we need restoring in this city of trust, order, and belief, right? The safety that we need from the police officer shortage. We need to encourage and motivate and inspire one another, because it's us in the city that have to step up into these positions. And so that trust has to be there, right? The order of understanding the law, understanding how that works and how the Constitution and what is, we lack so much and we perish for knowledge, as the Bible says, because we simply don't know. So we will perish, and we don't know the laws and rules and regulations a lot of times. And then we have belief, right? The belief that we have. Everybody talked about, taking the action. Faith must be accompanied by action. So you have to believe, but then you have to act. You got to put them together. And so we're at a point where everyone collectively is fed up and tired and ready for the betterment of. And we know it all boils down to leadership. So that's what I'm running for, why I'm running for mayor at this time and place, and that's who I am. Now, in regards to my research of looking up of the Louisville resolution for 100% renewable energy and talking to different people who do solar energy and different energy companies and experts, because it's not my expertise. But I do believe that where we are, we have to come in, and all the things that we talked about and things put in motion that we're moving in this direction, we do need to take action, as everybody else says. The next mayor has to come in, and if I'm that mayor, we will sit down, we will vet through, but we will move with acceleration, as Craig Greenberg said. We need to get the ball moving and stop just talking and meeting and get a lot of action done. And it takes everyone collectively. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shotro. Next on the list, Philip Molestina. Go ahead and take it away. Let me, and what I'll do for the next question is I'll just read it one time, but just for consistency, what is your stance towards Louisville's 100% resolution? And if you would spend a couple of minutes of that time, 4 minutes, telling us about yourself.
Well, thank you again, Tom, and everybody for being here today, for joining with us. I think this topic is very important, obviously, to talk about in this election. I'm running for mayor Louisville because our city is hurting, like we know. Ongoing failures in safety, education, justice, access, opportunities that we all heard. And these failures are harming the well-being of our people, residents. And there is a sense of hopelessness in many issues that we've been seeing through this campaign process. I'm not running to wave a flag or a political party. As Mayor Deere said in one of these conversations, we were hoping this would be a nonpartisan race, but it's not the case. So I'm running, my goal is to take care of the people, working together with city council and local leaders. I've been doing that for the last 20 years, working in the community, working with people and just a lot of different types of issues. And this is the time for our city to come together and get the work done now. And this issue that we're talking about today, obviously, it's important that we go ahead and have the, this resolution is something that's important for our city. I think the goal that we have of meeting that is important. But we do also need to see is that our city, as we've seen even through the documents that they sent us and that we talked about, is do a better job of what we have. Obviously starts with that. Like Mr. Greenberg was saying, and Mr. Deere was saying, and other ones, we can start doing a lot of that work right now. We know that what the goal is of the resolution and all this here, but I think the city can do it and is doing a lot of changes at this time of the year. So though I support the resolution in the sense of the fact that we do need to have something better to happen with the cause of having a change from the energy that we use. At the same time, my concern has something to do with where we are. It's something to do with like what Skylar said earlier, looking at the fact that the resolution and the positions and decisions that have to be made. You have to look at the process that we have, even though the number of years that are on paper seem like a long time. To me, as you start looking at these issues, the technology that is there is still not where it needs to be at. I know what that doesn't mean that we don't stop working toward that direction. But like Mr. Deere said a while ago, we also take into place the type of things like Mr. Finley said too, that looking at other ways also to get our energy reduced in other aspects also. My overall concern with this here is, like I said again, is that, and I think the other questions we're going to talk to about will give us more detail, is that heading in this goal in this direction is paramount to doing that for our children, for our generations. We want to have a world that's cleaner, it's better in all regards. However, we also, as a city, want to balanced in approach, as one of the candidates mentioned too, what the priorities are. We want to make this a priority, but we do have a limited budget. We do have limited resources that we have to also balance into things that are also in this time and age in our city a priority. So I think that's important to do that. And also, in the consideration of all this here too, we want to be a city that's also welcoming to business. And what I'm saying by that is the concern with over-regulation, the concern of things that may keep businesses away from us sometimes, when we have to be careful in the approach that we have and what we want to walk into. So on the overall premise of the resolution, I believe strongly in its value and in where it goes to. I do have
30
concerns with
seconds.
some of the things that are there, but I think as the questions that we'll be talking about here in a moment will allow us to talk about that a little bit more. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. And last but certainly not least, Shamika Parrish-Wright. You have 4 minutes. If you would address your stance towards the Louisville's 100% resolution, and before you do, spend a couple of minutes introducing yourself too. We now have 106 participants this evening who are hanging out together because they want to hear what each of you has to say. So thank you again for being here. Shamika.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you everyone in attendance and all of the organizers of this event. I am excited to be here because I believe in taking action, and you all, as well as many studies, has already done a lot of the homework. And so we that are coming in, and let's be clear, none of us have been mayor of Louisville and Jefferson County before. So we all have to come in, but I want to be clear that climate change and sustainable redevelopment will always be a priority, because when I pass out my handout cards, they say public health and wellness, they say government accountability, community safety, affordable housing, and economic development. But the reality is, if we don't reduce greenhouse gases, if we don't eliminate them entirely and do everything we can, the health and viability of human life in Louisville will continue to decline. And I want to make it personal, because that personal motivates people to do more. I was not born here. I moved here at 25 like every other person. I'm a transplant in Louisville. Moved here at 25 with hopes and dreams, and had 3 kids here. The 3 kids I had in Ohio had no issues with health, no birth issues or anything. The 3 kids I had in Louisville, as I lived in Louisville's West End, all had respiratory issues, all continue to have issues. And now I have grandkids that are dealing with respiratory issues, severe allergies, as well as ectodermal, things that I did not see in any other babies that I dealt with in Cincinnati. So I know that it's real. So our actions must match our words. The work that you all are doing is so important to keep us accountable and to have priorities that are essential to our future, to humanity. I am endorsed by Sunrise Louisville because I've talked about my environmental plans with young people who are fighting to make sure that they have a decent place to survive and thrive. We need yearly goals with quarterly check-ins. So I believe the method that you all have set up is something that I will support as mayor, to make sure that we have accountability throughout my term. We can't wait to 2040. We can't wait to 2030, and we can't wait to 2050. We have to do something, and we have to have it measurable. And so when we talk about sustainable redevelopment, I've been in meetings like that for many years, almost 20 years ago, in those meetings and talking about what we can do. So when I talk about solutions to us to be viable and to make sure that we're doing our part, we got to deal with our energy, our conservation, rooftop solar, renewable gases, technology. I remember door knocking with REACT and talking about the air pollution and making sure that that STAR program has some real teeth in it. So I would leave you with this. Vegetation and trees, as been discussed, is important. Hikes Point and St. Matthews has a lot of asphalt on the ground, and so they also have an issue with heat islands. We can work to reduce those. There's a big issue with flood water and the retention and reducing surfaces around Beargrass Creek. Watershed, West End neighborhoods are dealing with that around South Fork and Newburgh, Smoketown. Every area is dealing with some type of floodplain issue that we need to deal with as well. Use existing government-owned land to convert transit hubs. Transportation is a problem in our city. We have issues with LG&E on how it was set up, and so we need to deal with that, as well as shade seating, auditing our government to make sure that we're meeting our goals
30 seconds.
as metro government. And so all of these things are tied to making sure we do what's needed. 100% renewable cost for creation of new assets. As your new mayor, I plan to make sure that that is a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move to our, first, let me thank everybody for staying on task in terms of being within the tight time frame given to you. I am constitutionally incapable of doing that, which is why they gave me a script to read from tonight. So I have an excuse. I was born and was vaccinated with a phonograph needle instead of a hypodermic. And ever since then, I've been talking too much. So let's go to the second question. I'm going to start, Shamika, with you, and then we're going to head backwards alphabetically. The question is, and it's a 2-minute question, who do you view as the essential partners, both in and out of city government, in order to be successful in terms of moving towards the 100% resolution?
You're muted, Shamika.
Oh, see, thank you. If the energy manager situation is working out, I believe in supporting that position, but they have to know who to talk to, who we should be dealing with. Definitely small business, large businesses. JCPS owns quite a bit of land. Solar over Louisville, it sounds amazing. That making sure that that has all the resources and the support that it needs. Making sure that our young people are taken apart, giving them actionable items, having incentives for conservation, people who are reducing their energy and having some measurable goals for that. Making sure that every community and every neighborhood has goals to make sure that we're moving towards being renewable and sustainable. Dealing with our Louisville Metro Housing Authority and making sure all the properties that government agencies and other businesses own, make sure that they're doing their part to support the resolution. And secondhand smoke was a problem for me, and making sure that we are reducing heat islands by making sure we plant more trees and do all the things that are needed.
All
I'll
righty.
stop there.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Phil, same question to you.
Well, the essential part is, like Shamika was saying, I think adding to the energy director, which I've had with the information they shared earlier, was very encouraging as far as what the savings that have been done and what focus has there. But I think one of the essential part is going to be Metro Council, obviously, because at the end of the day, whatever the mayor wants to do and putting forward resolutions or want to do with this whole proposal in general comes down to, as it was mentioned earlier too, has to do with the funding, has to do with what are you going to allocate towards these resolutions and endeavors. So Metro Council definitely has to be a partner in that. On the outside, definitely technology developers, the people that are developing this technology have to be people that are looking at cities and companies that are trying to do this here. So we have to work definitely with them. The business community at large, again, once again, has to be a partner in the sense here by working with the city in this case here. But one concern that I have is how, and when you look at the documents that you have shared with us here, is how does LG&E come into the play here? Because if you think about it, you're talking of something that is in essence taking away the business they have. So the transition from them as a company and everything that involves there, the number of employees, you're talking, last count was over 3,400 employees, and we're talking about a time frame that is rapidly moving ahead. What's happening with that? So that balance act is really going to be very important to say, how does this whole thing come in here? I know that there's some things that have talked about it, but I see that as a crucial part of this whole thing there.
All right, Phil, thank you very much. Chartrail, same question to you.
I believe we'll hear a lot of the same things repeated from each candidate, as there's 7 candidates. To what Shamika said and to what Phil said. I think the first thing that we have to do is sit down with LG&E and KU. That would be the first thing, given that they are the monopoly company and that everything is squared away. And you look at the documentation, you're not going to be able to avoid or shake that even in a transition. And then it will work from the government piece of Metro Council to what Shamika, to what Phil said as well, because you have to know the temperature of the neighborhoods in each space, in each place, to understand what's needed, right? The lay of the land, that's truly important. Then also from there, you have to go into other of the energy corporations, not necessarily partnering with them, and not necessarily having to do consultation, but there is ways of just having conversation from others that know in the way that it worked, right? It's worked in Oregon, it's worked in Washington, it's worked in South Dakota, it's worked in Colorado. We know it's worked in these places. So we need to see how it's going to work in Louisville, even with the studies and the homework, how we can start to chop away at the bit, because it is unique here, I would say, per se, with LG&E and with KU. And so then again, as Shamika alluded to, and make sure that we get the youth involved, right? These young people in high schools and different colleges, as well down in middle schools. This is a topic and subject that they're engaged with. So when do we bring them to the fold to hear what they're researching and what they're studying, to start to pick their minds, because they are the future and next leaders coming up after us. So we have to continue to have that pipeline of leadership as we talk about energy. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Craig, same question to you.
And so I identified really 4 key partners outside of government. I view the entire city government as working together. So outside of the city government, first, the business community. We need more businesses. Like in a month or two, the Days Inn on Fern Valley Road is going to open up with 100% solar panels on their roof, using full solar activity energy for their hotel. We need more businesses that are going to do that type of investment, for a long-term investment in their own business and in the entire community. So working with big box retailers, manufacturers, even the quasi-private, public-private agencies like the airport or like JCPS, anyone with a large roof should be an initial target for a key partner to use more solar energy. Next are landlords. It's a pretty simple proposition for homeowners to install solar on their roofs. We need to also work with landlords who are not paying the electricity bill to give them encouragement, incentives, motivation, push them a little bit so that they too use it, even if it's going to save money for their tenants and not for themselves. We need to work with the entire land planning and development communities to encourage and to ensure that we're building more walkable and bikeable neighborhoods, because it's not just changing the type of energy that we use, but it's also reducing the consumption, reducing the amount of energy and fuels that we use regardless of the source. And walkable, bikeable neighborhoods are great for that. And finally, LG&E. And my approach to LG&E would be, one, is we need, even though the city government doesn't control LG&E, we need to encourage them to use more solar electricity to make it easier and cheaper for the company. And also, we need to encourage them to get more out of the Ohio River generating station and their hydroelectricity, so that can also be another alternate fuel. So together, those are the 4 key partners that I'd be working with to not just meet these goals, but to beat these goals.
All right, thank you, Craig. Skylar, you're next up. Same question to you.
Sorry, I unmuted myself there. Okay, so I'm going to repeat things as well. I think that obviously the current powers that be, as was just said, is a very important piece of this equation. From LG&E and other electric companies, remember a few years ago when solar was up to give citizens the ability to use solar, that was actually blocked by the powers that be in those industries from the state level in Frankfurt. But from my experience as a lobbyist, I and my team were able to get a lot done by figuring out what works for everyone. And so I do believe that everyone can win, and not everyone, while still allowing not anyone to lose. And I was successful at doing that in Frankfurt. And if you can find what benefits everyone, we can definitely move towards bringing those partners in who might initially be opposition, but getting to a place where we can all agree. I think that's very possible. I think the federal government is a huge part of this as well. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I could have solar panels on my house, but when I go every week and I've got a mound of stuff in my recycling bin that won't disappear and be biodegradable in the earth, that's a huge problem as well. If Louisville goes 100%, then, you know, that might make us feel good, but that might not put a big dent in what the overall problem
30
is, which
seconds.
we all agree on is climate change. So the federal government has to be a partner in that and introducing technologies that will benefit all of America. And then the members of the community themselves, it's going to be very difficult to convince the average person that when gas is $4 a gallon, you're spending a lot of money. You know, a lot of people can't afford to insulate their homes. That's a major factor when it comes to energy use. So we've got to get the message out to the people to make them want to invest in the things and kind of shift our ideologies to make them want to invest in the things that will make this possible.
All right, Scarlett, thank you. Tim Finley.
Yeah,
There
I'm
you
gonna
are.
say this.
Hey.
Yeah, I agree with all of my colleagues. I think everyone has hit on some wonderful points, but I want to go in a different direction because I think if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to continue to get the same result. The most important partner, in my opinion, outside and inside, are the people. It's community. I'm reminded there's a quote that I use at the church all the time. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. The mayor has to be the one to set the narrative. When you talk about reducing the carbon footprint, when you talk about getting homes and offices to net neutral at least, when you talk about electrifying the city, the vehicles, when you talk about dealing with heat islands, tree canopies, these are going to impact individuals. If individuals don't understand why this is happening, if they don't understand that crime is statistically, there's studies that have been done, that crime and heat are inextricably connected. When you're not creating that narrative and people seeing that this is an imminent issue, no one's going to care. Many Louisvillians and Americans, for that matter, view climate change as a distant problem. So we can come together, we can put together all kinds of plans, and we need to do that. We got to deal with big box stores. We've got to deal with LG&E and the privatization, all of that. But if we don't sell what's going on to Louisvillians, we're going to continue to see this lackluster approach. So the first thing that I'm going to do as the mayor is to get on and sound the alarm that yes, your life is going to be impacted, but for the better. And we've got to start looking at our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. Before we do anything else, we got to sound the alarm, because if we don't do that, we're going to have an issue in our city, or a continued issue in our city.
Tim, thank you. Bill, it's down to you. Last response to this question, then we've got one more, and we're going to start in the middle and work our way out.
I would say the number one item, anytime you want to get something moving forward, is to bring the residents in and make them understand what is needed in order to make us a safe, healthy place to live. And if we explain to the residents the same way we've been doing it, we have those that are believing and those that aren't believing. But we need somebody that's in the middle that understands how to bring the two together. Now, the other thing I noticed that everybody keeps thinking the big companies are bad, that the bigger or institutions are bad, but they're looking for ideas of how to improve. And it's up to us to sell those ideas to them, to show them what the return on the investment is, both in human capital and in dollars. And if we can do both of that as a mayor, we move forward with the situation. The airport right now is putting in thermal energy. It's not by demand, it's by doing the right thing. So if we move to LG&E, or if let's say we move to GE, or we move to Ford and ask them something, I think it's all in the presentation of the next mayor has to believe that the return on investment is many-fold when it comes to the human. Now, the next thing to look at is what Tom and I am many times in Frankfurt. We have to have Frankfurt on our side, working with them diligently across the state. As we look at utilities, and we keep talking about privatizing the utility or not privatizing them, as the past president of Kentucky League of Cities, a lot of the cities in this state own their own utilities. So when we start talking about solar energy,
30 seconds.
When we talk about solar energy, Tom, you know, we had a hit up against the payback. Would the payback be retail or would the payback be wholesale? And there was a big debate on that. And I think it's a matter of somebody being able to go to Frankfurt and work the system in order to get what needs to be done to save our city.
Oh, thank you. Candidates, all good observations, very much appreciated. We have one question left that also speaks to the 100% resolution, and I'll read it once and then we're going to start in the middle. So Craig, you're going to be up first on this one. The question is, what are the biggest obstacles that you see community-wide in implementing the 100% resolution, and what would your strategies be to address and overcome that obstacle or those obstacles?
Sure, thanks, Tom. I think the few biggest obstacles are first willpower. We need to encourage people to reduce their consumption and explain to them why that's important, even if they'll get used to new habits. When we change habits, it's always difficult, but once we adapt, it becomes the new normal for all of us. And so encouraging and selling why this is important, not just for today, but more importantly for tomorrow and the future, is encouraging the people of Louisville to change some habits modestly so that we really improve our climate. We also need to change the ways that we generate power. And I talked a little bit about that earlier, by using more solar power, by more hydropower. And it just needs to be a priority for the city government. All of the tools are there. It just needs to be a priority to make these things happen. And finally, I also think one of the challenges is that we need to support, some of this costs money, and it costs money upfront and has a very incredible long-term return on investment, but it does cost money upfront. And so I think it's critically important that the city support those consumers, those residents who can't afford to make the needed changes. When it comes to home improvements, to better insulate a home, particularly if you're renting, we need to provide incentives for that to happen. When it comes to transportation, not everyone can afford an electric vehicle, for example. And so we need to provide additional incentives and support for those who don't have as much to afford that. We need to improve our public transportation system. So it's not just something that people feel like they have to take, but that it's something that people want to take, and improve, really strengthen that. So those are some of the obstacles, but I'm confident, just like all of the challenges that we face in Louisville, we can come together and put these solutions into place and make Louisville a safer city, a stronger city, a healthier city. And I truly believe that a clean city is a safer city, it's a happier city, it's a more vibrant city. And so these are going to be priorities of mine, working with you all and other colleagues and friends across the city to implement these solutions. Thanks so much for having me here tonight.
All right, thank you, Craig. Skylar, up to you.
Sure, I think that the biggest obstacle we probably have to face is how fast we want to implement this. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take steps, like I said, but when I was doing research, the opposition to this resolution, this sounds kind of far-fetched to me, but I think it illustrates a point, is that I think they said that if we wanted to go 100% green with wind, for instance, that would take about 20% of the land area of Jefferson County. And if it was solar, about 90% would have to be covered in solar panels to make up our energy needs. But I am encouraged. I do like technology, and I read a lot about it. Technology is getting better all the time. So I think that as time goes by, we'll be able to see technology improve. For instance, when it comes to batteries, and people know this from charging your phone, whenever you charge your phone, a new phone, it lasts a lot longer than when it's older. And so, but I just read an article that they were able to design as a concept a battery that's able to be charged about 3,000 times or something like that, and not see any downgrade in its ability to hold a charge. So, I mean, if we're going to use solar, if we're going to use wind, we need a place to put those things. We have to be realistic. I am encouraged, though, that those technologies are improving. And I think people want to use them. Like I drive a Toyota Prius, which wasn't fun when I was pulling up to the police academy and training, but I do drive it. I save a lot of money on gas. People want to save money. My brother has a Dart that he can charge and drive around with basically no money paid. But hold on, Grace. And so people want to use these technologies. It saves them money. So as technology improves, I think we'll see more adopting. But I think we got to be patient with ourselves, not try to force it and wind up hurting ourselves politically by forcing people to do things. I think as technology improves, we'll see people want to save money, want to save the environment.
Time.
All right, thank you, thank you. Chartrell, if the question is yours.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, so I believe the biggest obstacle, and Tim alluded to this the last question, is the people. We are at a point where we always have, but we fear change, right? We fear the unknown. And even with the resolution breaking down from 2030, 2035, 2040, of where we're looking to be full community wide at that point of 2040, starting at 2022, how do we get people prepared, proper preparation to be able to understand what is to come and how solar panels. So I think that's going to be a huge obstacle that we have to chop away at to get to the point of understanding, as businesses will start to pick up on. But you have so many issues going on within the city. How can you educate when so everybody's mind and chaos is all over the place right now? People are thinking about being safe, thinking about crime, they're thinking about work, they're thinking about money. Do I have enough to pay? Gas prices, so forth, bills, their children. You have a lot of things going on. So we have to continue to be meticulous about it. The second issue that I believe is like, once we open this up fully and we get rolling, as it's already been things being done, but once we get rolling, there's going to be a lot of companies and businesses parasiting. And I mean, there's a lot of companies that are not good that'll come in and door knock and look to sell you something quick and have cheap work and cheap labor done. And then you have more issues because you had this done to your home and put on your house, someone who wasn't qualified, who was not vetted out. So we have to make sure that we're protecting our citizens from those that are coming in that are looking to prey upon different individuals as well, to sell them something just to get a quick fix, a quick money because of us moving to this renewable energy.
Thanks, Chartrell. Tim Finley.
So
There you are.
my grandmother used to say all the time, you don't know what you don't know. I think there are two issues, and I alluded to it in my previous answer. For those who do know, I think it's a political division. In the world of climate change, it's between those who accept the urgency of the problem and those who don't. So we got to deal with that. That's where, again, leadership comes into play, that this has to become an absolute priority in terms of messaging and narrative. We have amazing people, amazing, we've got REAL, we've got the NREL, we've got some amazing community partners, the Office of Advanced Planning and Sustainability. They're doing the work. The mayor and the administration has to broadcast that, has to talk about the fierce urgency of now. We have to deal with the environmental issues in marginalized communities. So for instance, we talk about tree canopy. Well, I think in 2014, and I think it's the same now, Louisville was the #1 place for heat islands. And there was this undertaking, I think, to plant 1.2 million trees. I think as of 2014, 15, 10,000 had been planted. Well, you can't just go into certain areas and plant trees because of infrastructure. So, which means that we've got a plan to have cooling stations in places like the West End and downtown. We got to explain that. When you talk about public transportation, the reason why I'm pushing fare free transit is to get people out of cars, and onto the Transit Authority of River City, and making it affordable, making it free. Because again, you're not going to reduce the carbon footprint if we don't get a handle on the car issue in Louisville and all of the paved areas. These are things that, to be honest, all my colleagues have had brilliant answers. I agree with all of it, but we have to become more transparent. We have to be better communicators. We have to use the bully pulpit that we have and say, this is what's going on. Sorry.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Phil, question is yours.
I think the biggest obstacle that I see in this whole thing, all the points that have been talked about are great, but I think that the biggest obstacle I see is that the two issues that we're talking about that would resolve this, which is solar and the wind, they're not, like I was mentioning a while ago, what it takes to make those work is still not there. So I think what we're saying is we all agree we need to do something different, but the things that we have to work with are just a long time away from where they need to be at. So even though I agree with what I said about we as mayor has to be out there and try to sell this here, how can you sell something that you're still not developed, something that still is not, the dependence on it is still not there? And here comes the touchy issue. We don't talk about some of the things that maybe would work because we don't want to touch those. We don't want to touch, the option of having energy from a nuclear perspective or from hydrogen that do work, happens in other countries overseas. And so then what do? You have this resolution, you want to meet these goals, you want to be able to do something to eliminate the way that we produce energy right now. But at the end of the day, it comes down to dependence. What is dependable? And until you have something dependable, it's going to be a hard sell for that to happen. So what the question is, how do we overcome that? Well, as we've seen with our country in the past, when we wanted to put a man on the moon, the country and technology can move ahead at a lightning speed when there is a pressure to do that. And that comes, like someone mentioned a while ago, from the federal government. That comes from the mayors too. But it's the perspective is that the dependence part of it and what we have in our hands is a big obstacle, and we have to work towards that, but also consider that there are other options to look at. Thank you.
All right, Phil, thank you very much. Bill, same question to you. What are the obstacles that you see and how do we overcome them?
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody being on the call tonight, listening to what we have to say, because unified together is where we move the needle. Separately, we don't. As we look to the future, the number one thing that has moved the needle of late is technology, and technology will help us move the needle even faster, farther as we go into the future. Technology has brought us the car that will go farther than 50 miles. Technology has brought us the energy that we can get to us on a solar panels. I remember the original solar panels, they would hardly produce anything compared to the solar panels we have now. But the key thing we need to do as a group is teach, not preach. Because when you start preaching to other people, they will not join the force, they will fight you in the force. And we need everybody on board in order to move what we need to do in the future. So if we start teaching rather than preaching, and we look at where we're 80% agreeable on and move forward with that 80% and work on the 20% in order to get that done. In Louisville, we have several examples what we can do right now. And as I said, as mayor of J-Town, we're already doing many of them. But as the past president, the board chair of KIPTA, and on the board now, KIPTA has grants for electric buses that we have downtown. They have more grants for electric buses that we should be able to reach out and grab and use those buses on an all-time basis. That's something that's there. That's something I know how to bring to the table. That's something that we should be doing. LG&E, the crazy thing about LG&E on your street lights, they charge everybody extra. Like the city of J-Town has numerous streetlights that we have out there. If we want to change them to LED, they're going to charge us extra, but yet they're saving on the money. We need to sit down with them and explain to them the ROI they're going to get when they come to the table and we all work together. Thank you all for being here. This has been great. Tom and Elise, I'll see you at the prayer breakfast this year.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Shamika, I am very jealous with the fact that you get the last word, because I have never in all of the 39 years around here ever got the last word when it comes to any discussion or argument. Being married to someone who used to wear a black robe doesn't make things any better. So the last word on the obstacles that we face is yours.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. It's so much to share. I do encourage people to go to shamikaparishwright.com, where I outline some of those things that we've been discussing here. To ensure Louisville has a right to determine its own energy future is all of our goal. And our next mayor has to be on board with that. We've all discussed that LG&E is an issue, and I'm willing to talk to the community, work with the community, bring them to the table, but LG&E has a serious hold on our city. We might have to go without LG&E to let them lose some money, to understand we mean business when we're talking about saving energy. My husband and I met with some people to do the solar power, and it was $70,000 that we got approved for, but we needed another $20,000. So accessibility, affordable incentives has to happen. TARC has to be an incentive to catch it. If the routes are not good, our disability folks are having trouble getting their rides on time, that is a problem. Our lights take 43% of the energy, and they need to be LED, they need to be solar power, motion censored. And so all of these things that we're talking about, LG&E is at the center of this. So they have to be at the table, and we have to hold them to that. I'm for everything I heard, but nuclear, we're just now still trying to reimagine past coal. We're not ready to bring on nuclear at this stage. I work for Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, and I watch what those communities went through as they got rid of coal.
30 seconds.
Our young people are the way to help us get there. We have Beargrass Thunder. We have amazing groups that is working on this REACT all the time. Bring them to the table. Let them help us make the decision. And I'm going to make sure they're a part of my accountability team and my transition team. So working together, like everyone said, making sure that our lobbyists and everyone is on the same page and making sure we hold people accountable. The airport was set up to receive light rail. Why haven't we had that yet? We got to start making our words match our actions. Thank you.
All right. Let me, I'm going to send this back to Lisa in just a second, but let me express on behalf of we still have 101 participants here that are listening, that are participating. Let me express the appreciation of every single one of them. With each of you, we are well served as a community by having a pool of candidates of this caliber who bring their life experiences, their unique perspectives, their hopes, and their passions to this campaign. We wish each of you well, and we appreciate so much that you are willing to take the time to discuss these issues that are very important to the organizations that put together this forum, your thoughtful responses, the time that you took, the fact that you showed up. Because one thing I have learned over the years is the day belongs to those who show up and who keep showing up when it comes to making positive change, when it comes to building community. And we are so appreciative to each one of you for taking the time to be with us, to introduce yourselves, your thoughts, your concerns, and your passions. I'm going to send it back over to Lisa I think we have John Gage is going to help send us back out into the world this evening. So thank you all again very much.
Thank you very much, Tom, and to the candidates and to our co-sponsors. After this forum ends, we invite you to take some actions by checking out the Renewable Energy of Louisville's website. Consider joining REAL. And while you're at it, check out the sites of our co-sponsors as well, because all these groups are in the trenches working, and they can give you an opportunity to get involved. Second, consider giving a 3-minute address to the Metro Council. Again, you can contact Samuel Avery at gmail.com to make that happen. Also, be sure to read about the Solar Over Louisville. That's a great program, and it can help you get started as an individual. And obviously the coming together of individuals is what community is. So check out Solar Over Louisville, and then we can worry about what we're doing collectively as well after you do that. Finally, I would invite everyone to vote for the candidate of your choice in the primary on May the 17th. We all need to vote to make our voices heard, and I hope you will do that. Thank you so much for being here. John, I'm looking forward to the song that you pull out of your hat to send us out into the evening in peace for rest.
Thank you, Lisa. And this song was written by a fellow named John Hall from New York. And in the early 70s, he formed a band called Orleans, toured with that band as the lead person, vocalist, instrumentalist, and songwriter. And then when 2000 came around, he began to develop an interest in politics, and ultimately was elected to New York's 19th district to the House of Representatives, US House of Representatives. And he did that for 4 years, one term. And then he went back to touring with his band. Whatever that says, I don't know. It's a song called Power, also recorded by the great Holly Near. Give me the warm power of the sun, the steady flow of a waterfall, the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Give me the restless power of the wind, the comforting glow of a wood fire. Take all your coal-fired power plants away. Everybody needs some power, I'm told, to shield them from the darkness and the cold. Some may seek a way to gain control when it's bought and sold. I know that lives are at stake, yours and mine and our descendants in time. So much to gain, so much to lose. Every one of us has to choose. Give me the warm power of the sun, the steady flow of a waterfall, the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Give me the restless power of the wind, the comforting glow of a wood fire. Take all your fossil fuel poison power away. I know that lives are at stake, yours and mine, our descendants in time. So much to gain, so much to lose. Every one of us has to choose. Give me the warm power of the sun, the steady flow of a waterfall, the spirit of living things as they return to play. Give me the restless power of the wind, the comforting glow of a wood fire. But take all your coal-fired power plants away. Take all your fossil fuel poison power away. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.